I actually did a video on this once before, and I thought I would revisit it because I kind of refined it. But if you've seen some of this in one of my past videos, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, this will be like a refresher course. But how do you spot a narcissist before they do damage? And the answer, hey, it's really kind of simple. All you got to do is you have to watch how they treat others. Because how they treat other people tends to be a pattern. And if they're following the pattern of a narcissist, chances are they're going to treat you that way. Now, it's not always possible to do this. It's not always convenient to do it. You can't always watch somebody all the time, but if you can observe them, the way to spot a narcissist before they do damage to you is you watch, again, how they treat other people, because you can expect them to treat others the way that, or treat you rather, the way they treat others. All right, number 2 is this. They follow the pattern. That is to say, they follow what I call the narcissistic pattern. They tend to go through a cycle, and it begins, as you probably already know, it begins with love bombing. Love bombing. Sometimes we refer to that in some instances as grooming, but what they do is they lure people into their web of deceit. I'm assuming that you already know that, but the pattern goes on once they are lured into their web of deceit by their love bombing, and the victim thinks, hey, this guy is my best friend, or this is my true love interest. But once they get entangled, they find out that was all fake. That was a put on. That was an act. That was stage makeup. That's all that was. And now that they are entrapped and it's very difficult to get out, they find this person is now taking advantage of them or abusing them. So this is a pattern. And they continue abusing them. Why? Because, well, the narcissist is sucking supply out of these people. Supply, what does that mean? Well, it means the narcissist needs to feed his or her ego. And they do that by hurting other people, by abusing other people. And if you are a victim of a narcissist, you are being abused by this person to inflate their ego. So if you see that in other people, if you see somebody doing that to somebody else, why would you get involved with that person? Because, hey, there it is. There's the sign, or that's part of the sign that this is a narcissist, and the sign says, stay away from this person. Number 3 is if you see this person demanding attention. Now, having said that, I got to say this. Narcissists are very good at playing the part of playing the part of somebody who is very humble, who is very empathetic. So it's kind of hard to tell what they are really truly up to. So you got to pay close attention. And they may not be demanding attention all the time because, well, they're faking it. They're putting on an act. But if you are perceptive and you pay close attention, you can see, no, that's not the real person. This guy's just putting on. And eventually, the narcissist will expose himself to be who he truly is, or she truly is, and that is a narcissist, because the act, that grooming thing, that is temporary. Every time a narcissist gets involved with another person, the love bombing, it's always temporary because they don't really love this person. They don't care about this person. No empathy whatsoever. Number 4 is if you see expressions that don't match emotions. This is a trait of a psychopath, but covert narcissists, tend to be psychopaths. So this could very well be a red flag, a warning sign that, hey, this person has a narcissistic trait. You need to stay away from them. So they fake emotions. They will kind of laugh when something's not funny. They will act like they're very sad when the situation doesn't call for somebody being sad. Why do they do that? Well, because they have no empathy, they have no emotions or depth of emotions, I should say, on their own. And what psychopaths do is they mimic. They observe other people. They see how the face is supposed to be made. They see how you're supposed to Act like you're sad, act like you're excited, act like you're friendly, kind of like a used car salesman, right? It's all a put on. But it really doesn't match the emotions. Okay, let's go back to the used car salesman. You walk onto the used car lot. You are greeted by the friendliest guy you've ever met. Why does this person like you? You never met him before. You don't know anything about him. He doesn't know anything about you. His emotions, his friendliness doesn't match the situation. I mean, if you guys were buddies, if you were long-lost buddies, if you were college friends, or if you were family members, okay, that would call for that friendliness. But no, he's faking it. Why is the used car salesman faking it? Well, obviously, he wants to sell you a car, right? Same thing is true with the narcissist. He wants to sell you something. He wants to lure you in. He wants something out of you. He wants to lure you into his or her web. So there's a dead giveaway. Number 5 is, and this one you probably already guessed, is gaslighting. Gaslighting, I'm assuming you know this because most everybody understands gaslighting. But that is when another individual, in this case the narcissist, is trying to convince somebody else they have a serious flaw so that the narcissist can take advantage of that person. For example, a narcissist may try to convince another person, say an elderly person like me, try to pretend that this person has dementia, is forgetting things. And then the narcissist will come in and try to convince the elderly person with dementia that he or she needs to entrust the narcissist with their finances. Where the person doesn't even have dementia, and if he or she did, the narcissist is not the person to trust. Well, that's gaslighting. And it's not just elderly people. By the way, I'm nearly 70 years old. I've lived a few decades. Learned a lot of things, learned a thing or two. And the reason I make these videos is just to share with you some of those things that I have learned in life's laboratory. So what I'm sharing with you are things that I've learned along the way and also from my didactic personal study. Number 6 is what I call downhill affection. That is not a clinical term. How do I know? Because, well, I just made it up when I was preparing the notes. I was trying to think, well, what do you call this? I know, I will call it downhill affection. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it means this. We talked about love bombing, right? So you're observing this person from afar and they're involved in another person's life and you're wondering, is this person a narcissist? And you're noticing at the very get-go, they're very friendly, they're very charming, they draw this person into their web. But that affection, that friendliness, it begins to wane. The longer they go, the less affectionate they are. Now, everyone does that to some degree, right? We understand the honeymoon. We understand when a romantic couple first fall for each other, they put on their best, they put their best foot forward, so to speak. When they go out on a date or whatever, they try to look their best, try to act their best, and well, that's an act, kind of like a narcissist, but nowhere near as extreme. But the narcissist is doing the same thing, but he's doing it for nefarious reasons. I mean, you can't put on the show all the time. Well, the narcissist is flat out putting on a show, and that affection begins to fade. So I gave it the term downhill affection. I should have called it maybe fading affection. Number 7 is they separate friends and sometimes even family members. This is a big deal. I mean, this is really a big deal. You're observing this person because you're wondering if this is a narcissist. Now, if you see this person who is getting involved in the life of his subject, okay, let's call him a victim. I think that's a better term. And then this person that you suspect may be a narcissist is starting to become friends with this guy's friends. And some of these people he is taking advantage of and turning them against his, what do we call him, his victim. What that is separating friends. So he is taking this person's friends and he is separating his friends from him or from her. What they are doing, what the narcissist is doing, you got to stop what you're doing and pay attention to this because it's important. Because what they are doing is they are creating conflicts that they can exploit. Conflicts between the victim and his friends. I've had people do this to me. And it's very frustrating when you have a good friend that you have known for, well, sometimes years. Never, ever had a problem with him. Never had a problem with him. But the narcissist intervenes. And the narcissist convinces your friend, in my case, my friends, that I'm the bad guy and that I abused the narcissist and I took advantage of him. And then the next thing I know, my good friends that I've known for sometimes decades have turned against me. They have become, flying monkeys, right? Narcissists by proxy. So what they are doing is they are separating friends. They are driving a wedge between the victim and his social network one by one. And they tend to sort these people. The narcissist will notice that some of the friends, some of the flying monkeys, are very useful. They're going to be good members of his little cult, But some of them, they're not going to fall for it. Not very many, but maybe 20% not going to fall for it, in my estimation. So the narcissist is very adept at doing this. Now, why are we talking about this? Because, well, the whole idea is, the topic is how to spot a narcissist before they do damage to you. And if you see somebody doing this to somebody else, that is a dangerous person. That is probably one of the primary signs. Now, if there were people out there who were watching one of the narcissists that was in my life, wedging and separating my friends from me, convincing my friends that I was the bad guy and the narcissist was the good guy, and he was the victim of me, and he was the hero that rescued himself and others from me. If they were paying attention, they'd say, hey, this guy's a narcissist. I don't want anything to do with him. But most people not paying attention. But you are paying attention, right? So you are seeing this going on, and you're saying, I spot a narcissist, or a person that I think is almost certainly a narcissist. But if not a narcissist, certainly they have pronounced narcissistic traits. Number 8, we mentioned this briefly, is they sort flying monkeys. So they've recruited the victim's friends to be their friends. And they find that some of the flying monkeys, some of these narcissists by proxy, they notice that some of these people are easily convinced. And so they build this little, what would you call it? I call it a cult. Some people would call it an army, but this little group of loyal flying monkeys. But they notice that some other of the victim's friends aren't so easily duped, so they just discard those. In fact, if they can, they try to stay away from those individuals because they can screw up the whole thing. If you have a loyal friend and he knows that you're a good guy and he knows the narcissist is a bad guy, that loyal friend can turn everything upside down. He could take the narcissist, not literally, but he can take the narcissist and turn him on his head. He can expose that loyal friend of yours can expose the narcissist for what he or she truly is. And if you ever watched the movie, what was it called, Gaslight? That's exactly what happened. At the end of the movie, there was a good guy who saw what was going on. And he exposed the narcissist, the psychopath. And he took that thing and he turned it totally upside down and he rescued the real victim. If you haven't seen the movie, I think maybe you can find the older version on YouTube. I don't know, it's out there somewhere. But if you've never watched that movie, hey, you need to do that. I mean, it's very educational. Number 9 is if you notice somebody who never claims blame. I mean, if something goes wrong, they didn't do it. We talked about this, I think, yesterday. But even if they were video recorded doing something wrong, well, that's a big misunderstanding. Your eyes are deceiving you. There's more to it than what you see. That's the way they approach these things. So they don't claim blame if something goes wrong. But what you'll notice that most narcissists tend to do, at least in my experience, is they not only don't claim it, but they transfer it. they take that blame and they push it onto somebody else. This guy over there did it, and this guy is probably you. But the idea here is you're trying to spot narcissists before they get to you. And if you see somebody, maybe at the workplace, maybe, well, wherever you happen to be, and this person never accepts blame for his own screw-ups or her own screw-ups, that is a trait of narcissism. Doesn't mean the person's a narcissist, but if you take all 9 of these, and guess what? I think there's probably more than 9. And if you can think of some things that I'm missing, you can tell me about it in the comment section. But if you see a combination of these things, chances are you've spotted a narcissist. The way to avoid a narcissist before they do damage to you is to spot them. Figure out who they are. Pay attention. Know that they are out there. Wherever you are. I mean, wherever you are. In your neighborhood, at the workplace, at your school, in your family, at the church, at the social club. Wherever people are, there are narcissists, and it would behoove you to pay attention so you can detect them before they damage you. You see those 2 rectangles on the screen? Well, if you want this conversation to continue, let's do it. Let's keep on talking. All you got to do, click one of those 2 rectangles and our conversation will continue. But if not, well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk to y'all later.